The Syrian war is reaching an inflection point. In a span of 1 week, the rebels have captured two key cities, Aleppo and Hama, and they're aiming for Assad's citadel, the capital city of Damascus. Will it fall next? That is the question. At this point, the odds are stacked heavily against the Syrian president. The rebels have seized control of more than 200 territories. We're talking about cities, towns, villages, and military bases. The first big loss was the city of Aleppo. It is Syria's second largest city. The rebels took control of it within 24 hours. And within days, Hama followed. Rebels could be seen celebrating openly in the streets after that. Now, the rebel groups are preparing to strike the next target, the Syrian capital, the stronghold of President Bashar al-Assad.
Thank God. Today, the city of Hama was liberated at the hands of our heroic fighters, from al-Assad's criminal gangs who have displaced people since 13 years, and thank God. Our heroic fighters are coming to him, and with God's permission, we will not stop until Damascus.
Bashar al-Assad is in serious trouble. The survival of his regime is under threat, and this is not an exaggeration. Just look at what's happening on the battlefield. For 13 years, Assad has been fighting this war, pushing back against rebels and terror groups. He never got a consummate victory. In all these years, he's not managed to completely defeat his adversaries, but he did contain them and clung on to power by confining the rebels to small pockets of territory. Until 10 days back, he was in control of 60 to 70% of Syrian territory. Different rebel groups controlled the remaining land, about 1/3 of Syria. But in the last few days, this map has been changing. 5 years after the defeat of ISIS, the rebels have regrouped, they have revived this conflict and weakened Assad's grip on power. His military was his biggest strength. He had loyal soldiers who enabled him to remain in power and in the president's chair. But now the military is being tested and outmatched. The losses in Aleppo and Hama say it all. The rebel group HTS has managed significant gains. That's the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham, HTS. It is the largest group of rebels with more than 15,000 fighters. According to some reports, they have up to 30,000 fighters. Now, the HTS poses the most significant challenge to Assad today. His army looks overwhelmed. Reports say Syrian soldiers are not even putting up a fight anymore. Many of them surrender to the rebels. The numbers are hard to confirm as the situation on the ground is volatile and reliable sources of information are few and far between. But one assessment suggests that at least 200 soldiers have been captured. These were men loyal to the Assad regime. The rebels have also seized their weapons and ammo. We're talking about a significant stockpile, enough for the rebels to sustain this fight for months, if not years. But the Assad government is putting up a brave face. The defense minister has spoken. He says the losses in Hama are, and I'm quoting, temporary and tactical.
I affirm that what happened in the city of Hama today is a temporary tactical measure. Our forces remain positioned around the city of Hama, fully prepared and ready to carry out their national and constitutional duties.
So what's their plan? How will Assad's forces retaliate? Yesterday, we received some reports. They said that the Syrian forces have launched a counterattack. They were trying to fight back in Hama, but by evening, they retreated. So by most accounts, the Syrian military seems to be in disarray, and that's not the end of Assad's problems. He's dealing with not just rebel groups, but also growing resentment from within. Remember, it started as a popular uprising against his regime in 2011. They crushed it with brutal force. Over the years, the sentiment has hardened. People are unhappy with the president. Syria's economy is in ruins. Between 2010 and 2020, Syria's GDP shrank by more than half. The currency has collapsed. $1 is now worth 17,500 Syrian pounds. The business community, or whatever is left of it, and Assad's loyalists are losing faith. And it's the rebels who seem to be gaining public sympathy. Look at these pictures. The rebels are releasing detainees from prisons.
Where are you from?
I am from Hama. May God destroy him. We got rid of him. May God punish him. We were 1,500 persons inside. Each 500 were in one room. May God punish him, similar to how he treated the people. May God bless you and be beside you, and until victory in Damascus, with God willing.
Where does this leave the Syrian president? Completely dependent on his allies. I'm talking about Russia and Iran. Syria's military is crumbling, its economy is already down in the dumps, and while Assad looks to Moscow and Tehran for support, it will have its limits. So far, both countries have vowed to back him. Russia has tried to tip the scales in his favor with an aerial bombing campaign on the rebels. Iran has reinforced Assad's forces by sending fighters. But the rebel offensive shows no signs of slowing, and if the momentum continues, if they maintain this momentum, Damascus could soon be in their crosshairs.